solving an equation, our main goal is to isolate the variable. To do that, in this case, I kind of look at each side individually and simplify first. So on the left side, I can distribute. I get 2x plus 3x minus 6 minus 6. And I can combine like terms to get 5x minus 12. On the right side, I can also distribute. Just be careful here, you're not distributing a 2, you're distributing a negative sign. So I would get 2 minus x plus 1 plus 5x. And when I combine those, that would give me 4x plus 3. Okay, so now my main goal, once again, get your x's together. I always do that as my next step. You can kind of move it either way. I'm going to move mine over here. So I just get 1x, you can just write it as x, minus 12 equals 3, and then I can isolate that variable. And your x would come out to 15. So could you please do a quick check and see if you were on the right track with that one? And are there any questions with that or with anything in general having to do with solving equations? Okay, when I do these type of problems, like that little, that minus, I feel like that always messes people up. I try to do ones that might be ones that I've seen in the past that people that make little mistakes on, just so if you make the mistake now, it's not a big deal. If eventually you take an assessment, you don't want to make that mistake. So I try to kind of mix those in, just so you've seen them, and they are not brand new to you on an assessment. Okay, so I'm going to show you that edge elastic you guys took last week. Once again, everything's anonymous. It's not in alphabetical order. Flip the order, and everyone has like weird names, so you don't know who's who. I don't even know who's who. So. Question, because I can't remember. When you were done on Thursday taking it, did it tell you your grade?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Did it tell you the answers?
So it only let you check your answers once.
Okay.
And then it.
I don't think it gives you answers either.
No, it didn't tell you the answers.
So when you're in it, you can check and see if you're right.
So I got a 7 out of 8, so I got 1 wrong. So it let me check my answer once, and then I didn't get it right. So if I tried it again, it wouldn't let me check my answer, so I had to submit it.
Oh, okay. All right, so for like worksheets, you can check all you want. You'd be right. No, that's not helpful. Let's just start at actual screen right now. That's my life. Okay. So here's kind of the thing. Once again, I don't know who Orange Eraser is. This is out of order and weird names, or Pink Camera or Black Bug. So they're random. I have no clue who's who. I can eventually switch out of this so I know who's who. But for us, we obviously you don't need to know everyone's individual results, but we can kind of see the deal. What I saw is the average was a 59, so that wasn't, I was hoping for a little better. But let's look at just like this over here. There were 10 questions, I believe. Hey, the beginning ones we were doing okay on. The end ones were a little bit more red. Hey, what were the end ones? They were word problems, right? So we're okay with the solving word problems. We need a little bit more practice, not a big deal. This is why I kind of like these programs, because it lets me visually see right off the bat how you guys are doing. But if we kind of look down, a lot of people, I think it was out of 15 points, some were more points than others, just depending on what it was. Some people did better than others. I'm going to give you a hint. If you're getting a 40 or 30 or 20 or 10, you need help, okay? So you need to say, hey, Mr. Sherman, can we go over this? I'm going to say after today, can I have more practice? You got to do something, because I can't be in your brain. We're at the awkward stage of life where just no one talks anymore. I don't know why. It's just a new thing that no one does. But please, feel free to ask questions. Get help if you need it. We will eventually be having some sort of assessment on this probably next week. We'll take a vote, because I'm going to be honest, I don't care. And I'd rather do what you guys want to do, because it's no difference to me. But we'll take a vote either today or tomorrow. Do you want your assessment next week to be in class? Like a regular assessment? Or do you want it to be out of class, but you're going to have to use technology?
Yeah, out of class.
I would probably use this program, because I like this a little better than Math Excel. You guys like this one better too?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like Excel better.
Huh?
I like Excel better.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
You just do?
Yeah.
Just the platform. Like on the problem, I'm not gonna give you like crazy ones, so it's literally, you're just gonna put in an answer, you'll show your work like a normal assessment, and then I'll kind of check that, and then give you partial credit as well. But we'll it's more like for now, we're just trying to still get used to stuff, I'm with ya. I know sometimes it's nice to do things at home, because I feel like you're like, some people just like take a test in class and have an immediate heart attack. So maybe that takes some of the stress out of it. If you do have an assessment out of class, there will be a timer. You do not get all day. You can't take like 5 hours to do a 15 question assessment. So it'll be like a 15-minute timer, like a class period. But we'll get more into that as it approaches. And we'll just see how things go. If you're having an issue with technology, please let me know. And I'll help you out. But I thought this was kind of a nice way to see results. So I'm seeing, okay, equations, okay, word problems, So let's actually go through the problems, because it's nice to kind of see what they were, what went wrong, and then we will see how people are feeling. So I'm just gonna pick a random question here. So on question 1, is this right? Sorry, like these are so hard to read sometimes. Am I a certain person? Here we go. What is this? Oh my god, it took someone 13,000 seconds to do this. That's the time. Try not to just leave it on, because then you like if you took 13,000, how long is 13,000 seconds? Oops.
An hour and 20 minutes.
What?
No, I'm just joking.
So 13,255 seconds divided by 60 is 220 minutes. So obviously someone just opened their thing and then kind of kept the answer up, I'm assuming, and then just didn't.
3
Because I hope someone didn't spend 3.7 hours on this question.
Oh my god.
But like little things like that, try not to just leave it up, because then
It's close.
On the
throws
first
off.
question?
Excuse me, data here. They didn't really spend 3 hours on the question. If you just open it to that page and then you just kind of walk away and leave it, it counts that as a time.
Yeah.
So little things like that, try not to do that. It just messes up the data. And like this person took 8,000 seconds. Once again, probably just had it open. But if you're spending 3 hours on a problem, please don't do that, okay? You shouldn't be spending more than 45 minutes on this assignment. You have my permission. If it takes you more than 45 minutes to stop, and just email me and say, I spent 45 minutes on this. I'll be done. And I'll be say, okay, I don't want you to spend more. Okay, so let's actually look at the question, and you can see for this one, who got it right, some people put the wrong answer. Like this person put 4, but the answer was -4. So on an assessment, I'd probably give you maybe half credit. You probably did, if I looked at your work, it was probably on the right track, you just forgot a negative sign. So like this person, I can't do it right now because I closed it. I'd probably give them partial credit, but this is what I look for when I'm looking through a problem. So I'm just gonna go over every problem. Why not? It's good review. I'll kind of just keep one up and then we can look at it as we go. But just little things. I'd rather us feel comfortable than to be like, hey, I did all this work and we never went over it. I don't know where I went wrong and what's happening in my life and blah, blah, blah. So the correct answer we know is -4 because we can see it's -4. But just as a quick reminder, I would distribute it on this side. I would get my X's together. I'm kind of moving into my answer here. Just start to solve. And then I would divide. And that's where our -4 comes from. So if you're looking back and you're like, hey, I don't remember what I got for that one, you can always go back later and look. But just in general, hopefully those steps weren't too terrible. Does anyone have a question with the first one? Okay, let's look at number 2. Oh, how do I get to that? See, I'm still learning this still learning this program too. So once again, don't spend 1,300 seconds. You can see this one was pretty quick. took like 12 seconds, a minute. So I don't want you spending tons of time on individual problems. It asks, what's the best first step in solving the equation below? Okay, so we don't actually really have to do any workout, we're just saying what step makes sense. Add 11 to both sides, doesn't even make sense because it's already plus 11, I have to subtract it, so that one's out. Divide by 7 on both sides, well I can't divide by 7 yet because it's still attached to stuff, so that one's out. Subtract 3 on both sides, or subtract 3x, oh I could do that, because if it's positive 3x I could subtract it over there, so that seems like a pretty good deal. I'll check the last one, add 3x, no, I wouldn't add that because it's already positive, so that's out, so your answer was just C for that one. So I can see on average it took you 42 seconds for that one, that's good. We don't want every problem to be too long, sometimes we just need a thing. Any problems on that one? Beautiful. So question 3. Ooh, look at this one was fancy. You had a little thing that you were, matching equations with their correct answer, so you had 2 columns. Sometimes this can be kind of annoying, it will say match and then you have to scroll and do stuff, so just make sure, see if there's ever a scroll bar if you can't find what you need. So we had 3 equations and we were scrolling over and then matching them with their answers. If you had to do this one on like a natural assessment, this would be worth more than 1 point, right? So just little things I want to point out to you. So this one was worth 1 point, that would be at least worth 3, probably worth 6, because not only would I give you credit for the correct answer, I do give you credit for showing your work, so you would do that on the second sheet of paper. So once again, I'm just trying to kind of be more detailed today, so when we do take an assessment on this, you kind of know what you're getting into. But just quickly, I like to kind of go through the steps. If I were solving this, I would distribute in. Okay. I would get my x's together. You can kind of do what you please, but I'm going to move that one over there. Didn't really give myself a lot of room there. Okay. I would add to both sides. And I would divide. Is that the answer? Mm-hmm. Okay. So once again, you're going to get weird answers sometimes. I even second guess myself. But hopefully I think that was a matching one. So you would have seen negative 42 over. What am I doing? Oh, why did I do that? I can't do that. This is Sherman in that bag. Hold on. I'd have to move this over here. That's why. Can't get everything on the same side. So x equals negative 42 fifths. So it wouldn't have been as bad if there was a matching one. You'd be like, oh, kind of a weird answer, but the option's there, so I'm feeling pretty good about that one. On the second one, we would distribute in. We would get our x's together. So we would get 9 equals 13x plus 35. And then quick solve, hopefully nothing too terrible. What's 9 minus 35? Negative 26. So x equals negative 2, which again was an option, so you just gotta match it, you're good. And then this one, I'm gonna move the 2x over here. Negative 9 equals 3x, so x would equal negative. Beautiful. So use your saw some different setups. I like to throw those in there just so we're getting used to the program. Any questions on number, whatever we're on? 3?
Can I use math there?
Absolutely, there's classes up there. Okay, question 4. So this took all sorts of different time. What was the average? The average was 68 seconds. Another one where you're really not doing any work. It's asking you, click on the first step in which you made an error. Ooh, I love these problems. So just say, does this make sense or does it not make sense? Step 1, it just gives us the problem. Step 2, they distributed. 2x plus 18, that makes sense. Equals 4x plus 28, that makes sense, plus 2. Feeling pretty good. Combine like terms, you get 2x plus 18, and then you get 4x, but that should be plus 30. So this is the first step that was incorrect. And then as we notice in math, you make one step incorrect, it messes up the entire problem. So please do your best to not make those little mistakes. But that's all you would have to do for that one. Nothing too crazy. Any questions with number 4? Number 5. So we say like if these are the results of people, a few people got it right, but quite a few people got it wrong. So this is one we want to make sure we're good with. Let's see what some of our answers were. 20 was right, negative 20. So you probably get a good amount of credit for that one. This one was only 1 point, but on the assessment it would be more 8. 20, 8 sevenths, 1.7, negative 16. So we're getting kind of random answers. So we do want to make sure, because once again, we will get like random fractions sometimes. But we want to see kind of what went wrong. So let's go through the steps of this one. And I'm sorry again for the glare because it is a discussion. On the left side, you can distribute. Right side, not much is going on. On the left side, I can also combine my terms. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. I'm going to get my x's on the same side. I got x minus 5 equals 15. And then I'll add 5 to both sides. So sometimes we think of answer like questions as having like little tricks in them. There wasn't anything like too tricky in that one. So if you're not getting one like that right, you really do want to go back and kind of see how things are going, see how you got that answer, because those little mistakes we do want to clear up. Any questions on 5? I'm just waiting for these word problems. Where are they? Oh. 6, we have an equation. The answer was 31/5, which quite a lot of you got, so that was good. We had some that were a little bit bigger.
31/5 or 25ths?
31/25.
Okay.
Sorry, I just can't talk. It also took 1.24. Please, I do expect you to write answers as simplified fractions in the future. Oh. 1, no, that's off a little bit, so mixed numbers again. I'm just looking at different answers. Okay. So we saw a few different answers. Once again, a lot of people will see a fraction and just have an automatic heart attack. You're more than welcome. I would just multiply everything by the common denominator, which is 5. Remember, technically, all of these have denominators of 1. So if I multiply everything by 5, I would get 15x plus 4 equals 35 minus 10x. Oh, it's a little bit better. Get my x's together. 25 plus 4 equals 35, 25x plus 4. And then get your constants to one side and divide. So once again, that little fraction may have freaked you out, but you are going to do your best to just work through it. Take deep breaths, especially if you're at home. Take your time, but try not to. Let's see if I can see the average time. You don't need to overanalyze it. You're just doing your best in that the time you got. Okay. All right. Give me a word, Mom. Give me a word. Oh, yeah. Whew. I know. All right. So we'll read through this one and set it up together. But let's look at some of the answers. The correct answer was 6. We got 5, 2, 7 point. Oh gosh, 8.33, 4, 5. Someone got 6, 7, 5. Okay, so only one person got this one right. So this one we definitely want to go over. So let's look at it. Let's go through the process. How do we set up the equation? How do we solve it? What am I getting for an answer? Does that answer make sense in the context of the problem, little things like that? So a skier decides to buy a season pass. Great. Would they have a daily pass? And then they have like a season pass, okay? They would have to rent skis with either how many days would the skier have to go skiing in order to make the season pass less expensive. So I'm going to say X is number of days. So we're comparing two things. We're comparing the daily pass to the season pass. P.S. I've been doing this for like 15 years. I still label everything because it's very easy to get confused with your information. If you're just going in and throwing stuff, that's probably where some of you are making mistakes. So please take the time to label first. So A daily pass is $67. It's $67 every time you go, so it's per day, so hopefully it makes sense that there's an X there. A season pass, you just pay that one time and it's $350. The skier, they also have to run skis, either way, and they're $25 per day. So with the daily pass, they also have to pay $25 per day. And with the season pass, they also have to pay $25 per day. So that might have been where there was a little bit of issues, maybe that adding 25X to both sides was a little funky. But if you label what your variable means, it should hopefully make sense. How many days would they have to go to make one month less than the other? So I'm grabbing my calculator because we can use them now. I don't feel like doing this in my head, I'm gonna be honest. 67 plus 25, this gives me 92X. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Let's get our X's on the same side. 92 minus 25 gives me 67. X equals 350, and that kind of makes sense because the 25 is going to cancel each other. And then we're going to divide both sides by 67. The answer comes out to 5.22. So I can kind of get why some people would put 5 in. Because you see the 5 and you're like, oh, 5. At 5 days, they're not the same, right? At 5.22, they're the same. So anything over 5.22 is when the other one becomes a better deal. I don't know.
But it said the correct answer was 6.
So, yeah, because you can't buy a pass for 5.22 days. You could buy a pass for 5 days or for 6 days.
So you would round up
So
to
you round up, because
Oh.
5 days wouldn't be enough. So that one was a little bit of a rounding thing. So if you got 5, you were probably on the right track with the answer.
I just rounded it down.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to point that one out to you. I'll try to not be terrible on word problems and answers, but some of you were just like way off. So some got 2, 7.7, 8.33. So it's not even like a few people got 5. And I'd probably give you like the majority of the credit if you gave me 5 as an answer. But once again, I kind of just do this right on. So at some point, you might want to look back and kind of just see what you did. But my main goal today was I really wanted to make sure we were specific about what was going on and how we're using this program and putting answers in. But I'll try to be nice about word problem answers. Sometimes they can get a little messy. All right, let's look at 8. Let's see, we got a nice little thing here. The answer was 2, and we had a lot of people get the answer of 2, so that was delightful. So I would give it to this person. For some reason, when they wrote months, it like didn't give them the answer. So that's why some of these programs can be a little finicky. I always go through and give either partial credit, or I would just give you all the points back for that one. But once again, I kind of closed this, so before I closed it, I would check that one. We got 4. Once again, the months, I don't know why, it's just marking me wrong. That person did get it right. So that would have changed some scores, which would have been a good thing. And obviously on an assessment, I would go through and make sure I was super specific about checking everyone. I actually did this the other day, or one of my other classes had an edge elastic assessment the other day. So I can go through and look at anything they got incorrect. And I don't for some reason they had to put in like 2x plus 5 was the answer. And just the way they put their X in, like they put in 2x plus 5, but like just their setup, it marked it wrong. So I went in and I just gave them all the points back. I'm not gonna take points off for a weird program glitch. But for the people that did 2 months, you did get it right. I'm sorry. I should have done that. But for this one, we want to know for what number of months will it be equal. So X is number of months. We have one health club is $50 to sign up and $65 per month. I want to know when it's equal to the other one, which charges $90 and $45 per month. And then you just kind of go through and solve X's together. Oops. What did I just do wrong? No, okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought I was talking about negative, I was just going crazy. 25x equals,
It's,
that's just 20.
yeah,
Thank you. I knew I did something. I knew it. I knew it was there. So that's where we got our 2 from. Delightful. So most of you were on the right track with that one. Once again, that's kind of just the way you're answering questions sometimes a little, but I will always go back and check that, especially for an assessment. Yeah,
Can I go bathroom?
sure, go ahead. Oops, I don't know what I just did. Okay. What did I do? We just did 8, sorry. This one we're talking about membership, it's kind of similar to the last one we did. So the answer was 5. It looks like a lot of you were on the right track. That one would be correct, so that was my bad for not going back and checking. This person said 6, so they might have just been off a little bit. 5 again, okay. So I'm not gonna go over that one. Most of you got it right. This person was just off a little, so it's probably just something with the equation. But if you have a question on that one, I can answer it in a little bit. And then 10, let's look. Oh, 10, lots of reds on 10, so let's look at it. The answer was supposed to be 8. This might have been another rounding one.
no,
8. A lot of people have 7s. 5, 7. Okay, so let's look at this one. Then this will be our last one. I just wanted to make sure. It's hard because in the past, we would kind of do these in class because we would obviously have extra time. And then I'd kind of walk around and we'd work together and it would be like a nice happy family here. But now it's like you can't work together. I don't really walk around because I don't want to be near you too much. No offense. And you don't want to be near me, I'm sure. So it's a little bit harder for me to, one, check in with you, to just like see how you're doing in general, to give you feedback, be like, hey, you did this wrong. So we'll try to go over stuff more. I know it's hard because you probably don't have your answers right in front of you, but try to kind of write stuff down as we're going and then bring that with you as we go over stuff. So this one we're talking about a water park. This is very similar to that ski one we did, where there was a season pass, there was a daily pass, but you're also renting a locker. How many days would you have to go to the water park for one to be better than the other? So X is number of days. So we're comparing the daily and the season. So admission is $17.50 per day. So if I'm doing daily, it's just $17.50 per day. So hopefully that makes sense since X is days. A season pass, you just pay the $125. Obviously not per day, that's just a one-time fee. But it tells me you rent a locker every time you go, whether you go for daily or whether you have the season pass. So you also need to pay $3.50 per day for either side. And then from there you can solve. So I'm gonna grab Michaela because we can use them because I'm gonna be honest, my brain was hurting without it. So this gives me 21x equals 125 plus 350x. But when I get those x's together, they kind of cancel them. So that would come out to 17.5x equals 125, and then you would just do a quick divide. Okay, so this one came out to 7.14. So if you had gotten the 7, you would have gotten most of the credit. But once again, 7's not quite enough. It's kind of in between. So I did round up to 8. So just as a heads up there. So if you would put the 7 per word problem, I give you a little more points. You get most of the points for that one. Or I would just put the decimal in. So. But just things, as we're getting used to using these programs, like little things I wanted to point out to you, what I'm seeing, what you're inputting and like what's working or not working. So I guess don't put labels on answers when you're doing these, like don't put months or days because for some reason that marks them wrong, which is highly irritating. But you get the idea. Once again, I don't want to see you spending like 25 minutes on one problem. That's not necessary. If you're concentrating, it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes a problem.
So I did the work like on a separate piece of paper and like I sent it in to you.
Yep.
Would you want that or just like
For an assessment?
Yeah, or just like for
Yeah.
doing now.
Always just give me your work.
Okay.
It's just, if you give me your work, you're more, like if I see you got a 10, but you give me your work, I'll be like, okay, they tried. If you just get a 10 and then I see you did it in like 45 seconds, I'm gonna be like, eh, it's a little suspect.
Oh, so when the last one that you posted, I think it was that one, I didn't put in the work, but I did it.
That's fine, for now it's fine.
Okay.
Definitely for an assessment, I would need to see your work, like that would be a very specific thing that I would tell you. Because once again, like I can go back, I would make things, like a word problem would be worth more than 2 points. It would probably be like 6 or 7 points. And I don't just look like, oh, they got a run, -6, thanks for them. I would say, no, I'm gonna go back to the work, I'm gonna look and see what they did. Did they write the right equations? Maybe did they just make a slight mistake? And you would get maybe like 4 out of 6 points or something, depending on what I saw. So showing your work is always going to be helpful. But once again, I wanted to go through that program just to show you, eventually with an assessment on it, we want to feel as comfortable as possible. If you're having issues with it, let me know. If you're having issues in general, because you're just, solving's not clicking, or the word problems are still a little iffy, we'll see more examples of those as we go, but let me know once again. So as of right now, does anyone have any questions on that stuff, on the Edge Elastic program, on life, on anything? Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. Thank you to all of you for partaking. Once again, if it's just a classwork, I mean, if you got a 66, you still got full credit because you tried it. But we do want to make sure we're putting our best effort in. And if you're seeing things, obviously some people that could actually go back and change a little bit because you actually got it right. But you at least get the deal now and how all that stuff is gone. So that was that. That was your Thursday. Your Friday, you watched that little vid. And it was like 20 minutes. It sounded like some of you didn't like it that much because we were like getting mad about it at the beginning of class. It's okay. So once again, in a normal year, we would go into so much detail on this, and we would do like crazy things. We're gonna keep a little more basic this year because we just don't have time, unfortunately. If we did that, it would take us the full 2 days, and then we have other stuff we gotta get through. So we'll kind of do some basic stuff today with literal equations, and then we're just gonna move on tomorrow. So if it's something that's giving you anxiety, just take a deep breath. We're not gonna get too crazy with it. So you might have something at the end of the week, kind of based off of this stuff, but I'll try not to make it too terrible for you. So let's do that now. We only have like 15 minutes left, right? Oh gosh, oh my god, guys, we only have like 12 minutes left. Time goes by so fast. All right, so let's just try a few. We'll kind of go over the main ideas. Once again, knowing it's not going to get too crazy. Okay, so these are called literal equations. Excuse me. Sometimes we do it with formulas as well. But basically all this means is we're going to be given an equation. You're going to see lots of variables, which I know some people don't like, so just bear with me. Sometimes there are numbers as well. And our main goal is we just want to rearrange for a given variable. So we'll start with kind of the most basic one, and we'll work our way up a little bit, and then we'll just see how we're feeling. So I'm going to say solve for A. Okay, we can use all different variables. I feel like we get stuck with the X. We can use whatever we want. Okay. So don't freak out because you see all variables. What you're going to do is say, all right, here's my main goal. I like to label. I always like, okay, I want to solve for A. I always put a box around it. I don't know
why, it just helps my brain function. So I say, all right, I want A to stay where it is, I want anything else to move. So the only thing that's attached to A is plus B. So everyone, what are we gonna do?
Subtract B from both sides.
Thank you, everyone. Come on. You're just gonna subtract B, just like if it was a number, it's a letter, who cares? Subtract B. I feel like over here, people wanna do stuff. They wanna like put things together and make it look nice. It's not gonna look nice, so just get, I don't know, deal with it. You just write this as C minus B. And now U is in. So it's really just about kind of moving stuff around. Any questions with one, or the first one? I'll number them so I can refer to them. Any problems? Okay. So let's try another one. Not gonna be terrible, but we just wanna make sure we're okay with the general idea. D over E equals F, and I wanna solve for D. So once again, I just kind of organize my brain first, and I say I want D to kind of stay where it is, but anything connected to D, I need to move it. I don't want it there. So we just think about how things are connected. This says D divided by E. How do I get rid of division, everyone?
Multiply.
Oh, good job, guys. You got a little better that time. So we're gonna multiply. I said like everyone is.
Oh,
We're gonna multiply both sides by E. And we'll write D equals FE. Can you write EF?
no,
Yes, you can.
yes you can.
Because multiplication is commutative, right? Doesn't matter the order. So if you wrote EF, I'm happy for you. If you wrote FE, also great. Doesn't matter, I just kind of throw it over there and see what order it's in. Then go from there. But once again, how is it connected? Do the opposite, and that gives you your variable. All right, so let's see one with more than one step. DE, we're gonna do DEF. So we'll do GH. I don't like I's, I don't like J's. K, I don't like L's. M equals N. So certain letters I try not to use because like L's look like ones and then it gets all sorts of confusing. I don't like I's and J's, I don't like the dots. I don't know why that bothers me so much. But let's say we have this equation and I say solve for K. All right, so it's all about organizing first. Where is K? It's right here. I want to get that by itself. So think about how things are connected to it. Don't get freaked out. There's two things there. That's okay, but they're connected together. So we have K is connected to this through addition. It's connected to that through multiplication, and then whatever. So we need to move things first. So I always think about, I don't know what's hanging out there by itself. We call this the constant. It's just kind of there by itself, not attached to the K. We want to move that first, and we always move this through either addition or subtraction. So since it's a positive GH, we're going to subtract GH. Don't get freaked out because there's two variables, they can stay together. So Km is going to equal N minus GH. So you just kind of take what was there and you put the minus GH on that. And then once again, I still want K by itself. So if we connect that, those are connected with multiplication, the opposite is division. So my final answer is K equals N minus GH over M. All right, whew, okay, that was a little bit more. We're gonna try another one like that. We actually, I know that you're probably thinking, when the heck am I ever gonna use this? I'm gonna be honest, in your real life, you might never use it. But in math, we actually use it quite a bit when we have different formulas, but you're trying to solve for one part of the formula. I actually use it, I teach trigonometry, I use it all the time depending on different variables I'm solving for. So as much as maybe this isn't a real life skill, this is a math skill that you will use quite a bit in your math classes. So let's look at one that's kind of similar to that, just to get the idea going. LMN, I don't want to use O, we'll use P, I don't like Q, P, Q, R, oh, excuse me, no Q, S plus T, U, equals W. Okay. And I'm gonna say solve for P. Wait, what time does this end?
And it's in 3 minutes.
Oh my god! Okay, we'll just do this one. Life. I got into that edge elastic thing, I just couldn't stop. Okay, I want P by itself. Can anyone raise their hand and tell me, what should I move first?
Plus TU.
What?
T and U.
Beautiful, okay. So these are stuck together with multiplication, so we have to kind of do that in a minute. But this is kind of just chilling by itself, we call it a constant. So we're gonna move that first. It's connected with addition, so I'm gonna subtract it. And then last but not least, there's only one more step to get P by itself. Since this is all multiplication, I'm gonna use division. I wanna cancel R and S, so I'm dividing by RS. And I get my final answer, P equals W minus TU over RS. So that's about as complicated as we're gonna get. There's all sorts of other fun stuff we would do with factoring and dividing, and we'll keep it basic. So what we'll do tomorrow is we'll come in, we'll try a few more problems. I'm not gonna be like, oh, we're done. Well, we'll try a few more. We'll see how we're doing. And then we'll move on and maybe try another word problem or two before we do one other new thing. Yes, sir.
Is there ever gonna be numbers in it?
There could be, like I could say 7S and you would just divide by 7 or something like that. So kind of same idea.
In the homework